Alright people, what's going on? So this is Renegade Operative and I wanted to do a quick impromptu video in the terrible PlayStation 3 store. We're going to talk about the massive disappointment of the PS2 to PS4 selection. We're going to be critiquing this. I should have done it a long time ago, but I figured hell, now is as good a time as any. So what we have here is the PS3 store, and you might be wondering, Renegade, why? Why do you have this open? Well, it's to prove a couple of points. Now, this selection is pretty decent, in my opinion. It doesn't have everything. Let me gather my physical copies of video games on the floor and talk to you guys about some of the games I wanted, like Def Jam Fight for New York. Great wrestling game, great street brawler game. The first one is more of a wrestling game, Def Jam Vendetta, but that would be cool to see. The Punisher, Spider-Man 2. Ooh, I see Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, Scarface The World Is Yours, SOCOM US Navy SEALs 1, 2, and 3, The Suffering, Black, Second Sight, Time Splitters 2, Time Splitters Future Perfect. There's so many games here that they could have utilized for this store. I think honorable mentions would be Silent Hill 2, 3, and 4, considering that Silent Hill HD is absolute dog shit. Anyway, as we go on, we see the PS3 store. Decent selection. Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium. We see, you know, they got Manhunt on the PS4 store as well. I see Midnight Club Classic, Twisted Metal Black. Let's go down some more. Shinobi, interesting obscure choice. Siren, Blood Rain 2. You see where I'm getting at. $9.99, not exactly the price I would charge for these games. I think they should be $5.99, but they have a decent selection. Now let's move over to the PS2 to PS4 selection. Let me cut this off my Elgato. You see my screen, right? Look at this. Look at this. Let me just make sure I'm right on this. Just look at this shit. Look at this. So they have the Jak and Daxter bundle that recently came out for $40. I got Jak and Daxter HD collection for at least, I want to say, 14 bucks, right? I got the entire HD collection for 14 bucks, which is half of this. Then there's Jak 3, the same price that I got the entire series for, being sold at $14.99. Same for the other games as well if you get them separately, but in all essence the bundle will probably be better for you if you can't get it anywhere else, and you can. Their selection is super limited and the prices are inflated from $9.99 to $14.99. Why, Sony? Why are these freaking games so high? And the only time they seem to go down is during sales. During the sales where if you are a PS Plus member, then maybe the price will go down a little bit to $5.99, $4.99, $2. But that's what the price should be anyway, paying for old games. You see what I'm saying? And their selection is not that great either. A couple of standouts, a couple of gems. But as you are well aware, the PlayStation has like 200, 300 games in its library. They picked out a few popular ones like GTA, and I have that. And they enable trophy support. But hardcore gamers, they aren't gonna care. I'm gonna get 100% on this game, or I'm gonna go and finish it 100% all over again when they already did that. We want more games for the PS2, the PS4 selection, and we want cheaper deals. That's something that would make this project a success in my book. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. Honestly, very friggin' honestly, I think Sony does not care for backwards compatibility this generation for the PS4. They did do one thing right, and that was the addition of arcade games to the PlayStation 4, because you can play OG Double Dragon 2 on there. That was perfect, but their selection for PS2 to PS4 is lacking. And then they didn't add PS1 games, PS1 classics. Instead, most of these games you have to pay a bullshit subscription for PS Now in order to access half of these libraries. And I don't know, Chief, I don't care much about streaming games. They did add in the option to download said game, but imagine paying PS Plus on top of PS Now and effectively murdering your wallet, ass fucking your wallet because of all these shenanigans, when you could find cheaper alternatives or better alternatives that I'm going to talk about after this. But I want to get this point out real quick. The point is, there was a hashtag commissioned by an official PlayStation Twitter itself. I don't remember if it was as PlayStation UK. They have so many websites at this point, it's ridiculous to keep up, but it was one of those sites. And they said, hey, if we updated the selection, what PS2 games would you want on PS2 to PS4? Many people contributed to this hashtag, even myself. And while I can't find the original tweets, it did exist. This guy is literally saying, hey, PlayStation, remember when PS2 to PS4 was a thing with the hashtag? Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too, because I also contributed and I didn't see any progression. A couple of key games, it was good they added Jack, but at the same time, when you really think about it, Jack was on the PS3 already, and you can own a copy of the HD collection for cheaper. So what is the point? Yeah, what is the point? Only Naughty Dog is putting in this work and nobody else is? I find that crazy. I find that weird, because Xbox One with backwards compatibility, that has always been a good thing. Just put in the goddamn CD and my game works. Now, I'm not sure how it works on Xbox. I believe if you put in the CD, it gets recognized somehow. And someone told me you still have to download the game. Maybe someone in the comments can explain to me how that process works, because I don't know how it works. But putting in the game disc and getting the game registered, that's awesome. Why isn't PlayStation doing that? Oh yeah, because fuck you money, right? Like, why in the ever-loving name of Christ do I have to pay more with their digital distribution service, or hop on to PlayStation Now to experience a halfway decent library? It makes no sense. It's one of the things. I don't want to come across as an asshole in this video, right? But this needs to be addressed in the next generation. I've heard rumors and stories and ideas buzzing around that Sony is patenting the PS5 to play all of our games via backwards compatibility. I'm a realist. I don't want to get my hopes up until I actually see what they're delivering with this premise. One thing I can recommend, if you're into preserving your older games, if you're into getting back into the PS2, one thing I did was I saved all my discs. Don't ask me how, don't ask me, you know, I went through like 3 moves and I managed to preserve at least 80% of my collection. Preserve your discs at all cost. Keep your old consoles too, that would be great. Keep your old PlayStations. Try your best to save your technology and open it up for a rainy day where you might play the PS2 somewhere else. I didn't manage to save any of my PS2s, unfortunately, because I believe my fat PS2 got broken. One thing I did, Amazon greatly helped me. I found a used PS2 for $50. Still works. It has some scuffs on the bottom of the labels, but it wasn't a bad idea compared to getting a new copy, a new console PS2 for like 200, 300 bucks. What the fuck? Sometimes you might have to take that risk, that crapshoot, but ultimately these older generation consoles, they work like a glove. I bought a couple of games. They range from at least lowest $5, $10 to highest at max. I had to pay like $40 to get Silent Hill 3 semi-new, but I believe it was worth it because I never got the chance to experience Silent Hill 3 and Silent Hill 2 at all. So I managed to get that at a bundle, I believe. That was pretty good. That's one way to preserve everything, is to go out and see what kind of deals you can make on Amazon or eBay. Another thing that I would recommend is getting a gaming rig. You can find ISOs all over the place. I believe the PlayStation 2 has a great emulator. NetPlay is a bit convoluted to set up, but you can play against your friends. Ultimately, you can have a great time emulating a lot of classic experiences via a gaming rig and emulation. That's why I got a gaming rig. That's exactly why I wanted to go back and enjoy classic games that I didn't have the opportunity to play. Fucking PC gaming, sometimes when it's not a headache with troubleshooting, that's where it's at for digital preservation of older games, right? The last thing is, if they do enhance, if Sony does somehow manage to live up to their words, the best thing they could do is allow us to have a wider library, put older games at a cheaper price, and if you're going to really double down and commit to PS2 to PS4, then you need to allow at least online play. That would be great. It's kind of convoluted, like I said, to set up on NetPlay for the PS2 emulator, the one I use. Let me type this in real quick. Let me type this in real quick just to make sure I'm not wrong. It is called PCSX2. That's the one I use, and NetPlay isn't built into that. You have to set it up through other means. I know people were playing Resident Evil Outbreak via NetPlay with that particular outside third-party setup. They can make it easier on console owners who could just get onto a PS2 game. It has the online enabled, and let us play some old stuff. I know a lot of these ideas I am putting out right now that might sound impossible, but make it possible, Sony. Make it possible. Until then, I think all of these patents and all of these rumors about PS5, until I see it with my own eyes, everything is a hill of bullshit. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, PlayStation. Go out of your way and prove me wrong. I want you to prove me incorrect, that you care about backwards compatibility, that you care about preserving the past, that you care about preserving all of these high-ranking exclusives that you had in the past that are multi-plats now, by the way, but show that you give a shit. That's all I want. Past and future. You can still make your AAA exclusives in the present while preserving the past, in my opinion. Last thing I kind of want to say is, again, this PS2 to PS4 program that they implemented for PS4, I think it's a colossal dud. It's a failure, and hopefully this is a history lesson. Hopefully Sony knows that Xbox right now, in terms of features in that department for preserving the past, they got you guys beat. Allow us to use our discs if you can. If you can't allow that, then allow us to have these games at much cheaper and affordable prices. Find a way to be non-greedy. Find a way to be more varied with your store, and I will be on board for PS5. But as of now, I just don't see the hype around next gen without seeing anything. I've made that mistake time and time again, and the only thing I've ended up with was broken launch consoles with some great games on it. I'm not gonna lie, but every launch console I bought broke on me. I need stability, I need evidence, I need proof, I need more validation that something will be good before I jump ship to the next generation. I need these launch consoles to stop failing. That's what I need. I need these features to be great, if not on the same level as a PC in terms of the things you could do with customizing and fucking with things. That's what I need. The exclusives, yeah, that's going to be a selling point for me, but I feel next console generation, I'm going to need more. I'm going to need this validation. And that's one of the areas they could improve on for the better. Hey, netplay is hard to set up on an emulator. Cool, make it easier to do on consoles with PS2 games. Make us have the fun back again. That's all I want. Anyway, this is my rant done. I know it was a bit long, but I wanted to establish all of my points about next generation, about backwards compatibility, about what is required in the future before I jump ship. And Sony made a complete mistake on the PS2 to PS4 program, a mistake I hope they never make again. I will see you guys next time. This is Renegade Operative signing out. Peace. Check me out all over the place, social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that, Twitch, and I will see you soon. Later.